Hi, everyone. It's me, Tim. And today I want to talk about one of the items behind me. I get a lot of questions and requests to walk through my bookshelf and my display cases with all the things that are in it. And there are a lot of things. And at first I was surprised because most of them are what I would call a tchotchke, which are the little things that come with games, and they're just things, one or two items from every game I've made. But I can see why they'd be interesting. To me, it's just the, museum of my career. But also, it's a lot of stuff I had when I was a kid that I just kept because they influenced my games. But one of the reasons I haven't been doing videos on these, because I'm going to do a video on one of them, the Fallout Foamcore sign. And I'll tell you it's because, and I know this is just the way my brain works, I'm going to talk about it, but I realize it's kind of a big story with context, and I think it's humorous. Some people are probably going to be like, But let me tell you a story about this big old honking thing. This is, oh my goodness. This is my Fallout 1 foam core board. It's pretty big. It's pretty thick too. It's a big, I don't know if you know what foam core is. It's often used at presentations and conferences, and that's exactly what that one was used for. See, that's why I don't move around. I got this foam core board sometime in late '97. I don't exactly remember when. It was either right before or right after Fallout shipped, which was around October of '97. Someone came over from marketing and she told me, hey, we were throwing things out that we took to places like E3 and other shows, but I thought you'd want this. And I'm like, you were going to throw that out? Of course I'll take it. She goes, yeah, all this stuff is, they like this stuff, but there are new shows all the time and new products coming out from Interplay. Interplay was several hundred people by then. I think it was over 600 people. So she was like, yeah, we throw this stuff out. And I'm like, I'll take it. Now, I almost took it home. I almost just threw it in my car, but I didn't because I was driving a Jeep and I never kept the top on it. So I hung it up in my office. Didn't think anything about it. It's like, boom, it's really cool. People can buy and go, that's cool. Where'd you get it? I'm like, marketing was going to throw it away. Can you believe it? I'm keeping it. So that would be late 97. So let's go forward to early 98 when I decided to leave and stop working on Fallout 2, and I was packing up my office. This was probably the day before my last day, and my boss came by and saw that I had taken that foam core sign off the wall. He goes, what are you doing? And I said, that's mine. He goes, no, that's property of Interplay. And I'm like, and Interplay was going to throw it away. I literally rescued it from being thrown in the dumpster. And he was adamant. He said, I'll get security involved. That does not go with you. You better leave it here. You can't take anything home that's property of Interplay. And I was like, okay. So I left it. A few months later, I frequently had lunch with people who were working on Fallout 2. We liked each other. We enjoyed talking about games. Frequently, they would ask me questions like, hey, do you remember where in the code this happened? Or we're having this weird thing happen. Do you think it would be this code or this code? Tell me where to look. And I answered questions like that all the time. One day, there was a lunch planned, and someone who was coming called me and said, don't bring your Jeep to lunch. And I was like, okay, because I just bought, because it's running Troika, I had bought a Camry because the one time I picked up a publisher representative at the airport to bring over to the Troika offices, it was pouring rain and he was not happy with my open top Jeep. So I bought a Camry as just a car that was nice but not so nice. It didn't seem like we didn't need money. So I went to lunch in the Camry and I'm pulling into the parking lot and this person pulls in next to me, tells me to unlock the back door, opens it up, slides in this foam core. And I was like, what's happening? And he's like, it got set aside. It got put in some room somewhere. I brought it into my office. It's been in there for weeks. Nobody noticed. Nobody cares. So here, you can have it. I know you wanted it. And I was like, yeah. Just to continue, because there's all these stories, a few months after that, a different person calls and said, hey, I know we're meeting for lunch. Remember all those GURPS books? And I said, yeah. When we chose GURPS and we signed the contract, a few weeks later, Steve Jackson sent us a whole bunch of GURPS books. It was well over 100. I want to say it was close to 200, but it was somewhere between 100 and 200. GURPS books on everything. Yeah, some extra copies of the basic set because he knew we played, but also things, like a whole bunch of GURPS books: GURPS Dinosaurs, GURPS Atomic Warfare, GURPS Space, GURPS High Tech, GURPS Ultra Tech. I mean, we had this huge range of things to look at advantages and disadvantages and skills that informed, what making Fallout. When we got them, a VP who saw them arrive, because I needed to borrow like a dolly to get them to my office, said, hey, those are Interplay property. You need to write property of Interplay in all those books. And I said, okay, there's almost 200. Why don't you do it? And let me know when you're done. He goes, I'm not going to do that. And I said, well, then get me a stamp. A stamp arrived on my desk a couple days later. I stamped all the books. It disappeared a few weeks after that. So there's all these books that are stamped property of Interplay. That's what this this friend of mine, this ex-colleague, was referring to. So I tell him a few that I would love to have had. He shows up to lunch with a paper bag with these books in them and said, I know you left them because they said property of Interplay in them, but our boss said that people could just take them home. People could just have them. Otherwise, they were going to throw them away. So I've taken a whole bunch, and these are the ones you said you wanted. So they're in my bookshelf. By the way, a few months after that, Fallout 2 shipped. And there was a big Fallout 2 ship party, and everyone on the team and Interplay was invited. I got +1 invites from 2 different people on the team to come to the party. And I was like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, you worked on this. You got it kicked off, blah, blah. So I was trying to decide which one I would say, okay, I'll go with you as your +1, because everybody could only have one person go with them. And then my old boss apparently said that I was not allowed at the party and that security would be there to enforce that. So I didn't go to the Fallout 2 ship party. Interestingly, I went to both the Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 ship parties. Got invited to those. They were amazing. I should probably do videos on those just because it was amazing. It was amazing meeting the team that made those Fallouts. But there were celebrities there and really good bands there. Amazing food there. Amazing props there. I think I've got pictures. So maybe like I did with Nuka Break, I'll do videos on those. But what I think is funny is, so this is an example of me talking about the Fallout Foamcore. That's one thing. I've got an entire case back there filled with stuff. And I'm not sure all of them have stories at that quite of a length, but they'll have context in them, like why I have this particular picture of me in the Fallout style, or why I have a stim pack from the original Fallout. Why I have coasters, some that say Interplay, some that say Outer Worlds on them, and how I got them and why they were made. So I can do a lot more stories about these. If this was interesting, let me know. I can tell stories about a lot of other things I've got. Some of them I don't think are as funny or as telling, but most of them have some context behind them of why I've got those things on my shelves. I've moved twice in the last 20 years that necessitated getting rid of a lot of things. So this is a tiny fraction of what I used to have, but I kept all the things that had the most meaning to me. So most of the things you see, especially in these cases and a lot of these books, there are stories behind them. So I can tell those stories if you're interested, but I thought I'd start with this giant Fallout Foamcore to see if this was something that people would find interesting. So let me know. and I can do some videos on some of the other cool things I've got back there. Anyway, thanks for listening.